السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. In this video, we're going to study how to recite Surah Al Masad بإذن الله. And we'll just take some basic rules of tajweed of the same surah bi'idhnillah. Okay, so Surah Al Masad, a little bit of introduction of this surah. It has got two names. Surah Al Masad is one name taken from the very last word of the surah. Okay, Surah Al Masad taken from the last word of the surah. It's also called Surah Al Lahab. It's in the non-Arabic Mus'haf. It's called Surah Al Lahab. Okay. Surah Al Lahab comes from either from Abi Lahab, but people say that it's not because of Abi Lahab. It is because of the Lahab. Lahab is a very red burning coal. Okay, so that's Lahab. So it's taken from here actually. So either way, Surah Al Masad or Surah Al Lahab. And this surah has 5 ayahs. Let's have a look at it from Tajweed point of view. You got the most repeated rule of Tajweed in this surah is called qalqala. Okay, I'm gonna write it in English because this video is in English, but if you want in Arabic, I'll write it in Arabic too. Okay, so qalqala. This is qalqala is the bouncing or echoing sound at the end of a word, at the end of a letter, when there is a sukoon on the letter. For example, when I just have ba sukoon, it should be ab. Okay, like if I have hamza fatha ba sukoon, it should just be ab. All right, this is the actual sukoon sound, ab. But ba is not very clearly heard when I just say ab. So what I say is I open my lips with the voice from the vocal cords, not just air, not like up, up. This is wrong. I would say ab, ab. Okay, this is qalqala. You kind of hear the bounce effect in the letter. So instead of saying ab or ab, you say ab, ab. Okay. This is qalqala. This is somewhere between fatha and sukun sign. Now, there are 3 different kinds of qalqala, 3 different levels of qalqala. The first one is the strongest, where when you stop at a word that has a qalqala letter in the end, and there should be a shadda on the qalqala letter, like here. You're stopping here because it's at the end of an ayah. So the haraka is removed, but there is also a shadda here. Okay, so 2 things. You have to stop and there should be a shadda on the qalqala letter. So the qalqala letters are 5, qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, qutubu, jad. In this surah, we only have ba and dal. Okay, only these 2 letters have qalqala in the surah. So let's concentrate on those, ba and dal. Okay, so the strongest level of qalqala is when there is a shadda on the qalqala letter in the end, and if you stop there, you make the strongest qalqala. So you say watab. Instead of just saying watab, you say watab. So it would actually be watabba, tabba, but you're kind of making it yani without fatha. You're removing the fatha sign. So watab. Okay, so you stop bouncing in the end. Now the second level is called strong qalqala. That was strongest. The first one was strongest. The second is strong qalqala. When do we do this? We do this when we just stop at a qalqala letter. Okay, just stop at a qalqala letter. For example, kasab. It's in the end and you're stopping at it. Lahab. حطب. Okay, masad. These are all strong qalqala because you are stopping at these. Now the last one is called the weak qalqala. It's called weak because it comes in the middle of a word or in the middle of a sentence and you are in a flow and you're not stopping on that letter. That's why you just make the qalqala weak and go ahead. Like here, you see, habelun, habelun. You don't do habelun like that, okay? If you stress on this letter with qalqala, it kind of sounds like you are stuck. It's not a proper flow. So you feel like hablun is not natural compared to habelun. Okay? Hablun would be wrong because it's in the middle and you have to be in a flow of your recitation. So you say habelun, you bounce and you move ahead. You don't put pressure on qalqala's makhraj. Okay? So three levels of qalqala. The first one is the strongest, which happens when you stop at a qalqala letter with a shadda. And there is only one example of that in Surah Al Masad. That is watab. Okay, you stress and you open your lips for the qalqala. The second level is strong, which is when you stop at a qalqala letter, applying only the sukoon, like kasab, hatab, lahab, masad. Okay, it should be al-hatab. Okay, with al. All right. Then you have the last level, the third level, which is the weak qalqala, which happens if the qalqala letter is in the middle of a word or in the middle of a sentence with a sukoon. Even if it's at the end of a word, but it's in the middle of a sentence because you're not stopping there. You're just reading in a flow. You would not stop and stress on the letter. You'd rather just, bounce and go ahead. All right, so we're going to be applying these three rules. And this, among the short surahs, this is, or say among the last 10 surahs, this is the only surah that has all the three levels of qalqala. Okay, strongest is in watab, strongest in all the ayahs ending, and weak is in the last ayah, habilun. Okay. Right, that's the specification of the surah. That's why it's a little bit different, a little bit special. Let's see other rules that we have. Okay, so we got the mad signs which are followed by a hamza in the next word. This is called mad munfasil, separated mad, because mad is separated by a space from the hamza, the following hamza. And this one is also repeated here. Okay, so whenever you see any mad sign followed by a hamza, you have to make 4 or 5 counts. Okay, prolong it 4 or 5 counts. 4 is preferred. Always 4 is preferred. Whenever you see a mad, prolong it 4 harakat if it's followed by a hamza. 5 is also okay, but 4 is preferred. I'm gonna do 4. Okay, and then you got certain ghunnas that we studied in the other surahs before, like there's a cross fathatain followed by a dal, which should be ikhfa. If you have studied with us or with me, if you've studied with me the rules of tajweed, I've explained how different tanween indicate different rules of tajweed. So cross fathatain and kasratain if followed by other than yarmalun letters, ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, noon, should not be after cross tanween. Okay, that means it's ikhfa. Okay, so here what you do is your tongue should be ready to pronounce the following letter when your nose makes a ghunna of 2 counts. Okay, so it would be randa, randa. So my tongue is touching the tips of upper incisors. Okay, so slightly out, and it's ready to pronounce dal when I am making the ghunna, the nasal sound of 2 counts. Randa. Similarly, we've got another type of ghunna here. Here, cross like tanween one after the other, dhamma one after the other. What we do here is whenever it's followed by a meme or a noon or any letter really with a shadda, you should not pronounce the noon sound in tanween. Okay, habelun, that noon sound is removed. You only pronounce the meme with a shadda, which means you have to do the longest ghunna of 2 counts. Similarly, this one, a noon sakina with nothing on it, followed by meme with a shadda. I call it the second category noon sakina, second category tanween. You should not pronounce the noon, pronounce only meme with a shadda. Okay, so the noon sound of tanween is skipped in this case, and noon sound of noon sakina is skipped in this case. So what you do, you say like, you count 2 counts of ghunna in each case. Habelum said, okay, like that. Hope that is clear. So those are the 2 types of ghunna. Then we have one specific type that we talked about before in Surah An-Nas, but we talked about noon mushaddad. When noon has a shadda, you make the longest 2 counts. But when meme has a shadda also, you make the longest 2 counts. That means you have to do slow 2 counts when you see a meme with a shadda, or even when you see a noon with a shadda. In this surah, we got a meme with a shadda. So you say like hammalata, hammalata. So you're giving a very long 2 counts to this. All right. And then we got the first one. Of course, this is a little bit different. That's why I kept it for the last. In this case, again, you see cross kasratain, kasra, and then another kasra. So what you do is you do not pronounce the noon sound of tanween. Like it should be habilin, but the noon sound is skipped. Only one kasra. You read, sorry, wrong. So what you do is you do not pronounce the noon sound of the kasratain. Okay, so it should be lahabin. Instead of saying lahabin, what you do is you pronounce one kasra, lahabi, and then connect it to wow, lahabin wa. So you do 2 counts, ghunna here. We call it idgham. So incomplete idgham with ghunna. Lahabin wa. So half of the sound comes from my nose, nasal sound, and half of the sound comes from my mouth. By circling my lips, I am using makhraj of wow. So I hope that's clear enough, inshallah. Okay, so these are the rules of mad and ghunna. Now let's go for what we call the possible mistakes in the recitation. Okay, so make ta with hams. That means a little bit of air, like tabbat. Don't say tabbattiyada, battiya. This is wrong. Don't stress too much on ta's makhraj. Say bet, tabbat yada. Okay, tabbat. All right, and always count the mads. Abi, there is a ya, prolong it a little bit. Lahabiyun, do the gunna. Watab, do the strongest qalqala. Ma, count 4 counts. Aghna, ghain, don't say ag. Many people say this like a G sound as in goat. Ag. That's wrong. Say agh, agh. And the sound should not be bouncing. Don't say agh, agh, agh. This is the most common mistake. Even those who can pronounce ghain, make qalqala sound here. They say like aghana, aghana. That's wrong. Say agh, agh. Ghain has the quality of rakhawa, which means you have to let the sound run for a bit before going ahead for the next letter. Agh, aghna, aghna. Rather than saying aghana, aghana, okay? Try to control your throat so as the back of the throat should not close, making it aga, or it should not come really bouncy like aga, okay? Aghna. So this is a very common mistake. And the alif is to be prolonged. People don't forget this alif. They say ma aghna anhu, aghna anhu. It's not aghna, just the noon, okay? It's not aghna anhu. Aghna anhu would look like this, okay? That would be very wrong. And I keep saying this, almost 97 to 99% of my students say this. They forget the alif over and over again, not just one time. Okay, if you leave for some time and then you come back to revising this surah, you ask them to read this, they say ma aghna anhu. No, it is أغنى عنه. Na is 2 counts, مد طبيعي, natural mad, prolong it a little bit. أغنى عنه. And when you're repeating, repeat with ma, because ma is a negative particle. It gives a negative meaning. If you leave this, just say أغنى عنه, the meaning would become opposite if you're trying to correct the ghain and alif. You have to repeat with ma. All right? All right. Maluhu. I don't know why people say malahu. It should not be malahu. It should be maluhu. Lu. Lam dhamma. This is a major mistake. Lahanjali. Changing the letter. And by the way, removing this alif, reading this as aghna anhu is also lahanjali, because you're removing a letter, adding a letter, removing a letter, changing a letter. Lahanjali. Adding a sign, removing a sign, changing a sign, all lahan jali. So yeah, maluhu, if you change it to malahu, it's lahan jali. Wama kasab, qalqala on ba, don't miss the qalqala. Sa, yes, yes. Sad is heavy. Yes, not sayasla. Don't say yasla. Okay, sin is light and sad is heavy. سيصلى سيصلى yes. Yes. Your tongue goes really high to the roof of the mouth. Only the tip of the tongue touches the lower incisors to make the sound of صاد. Okay, la also prolonged slightly because of the alif saghira. Naran. Do the gunna with dal. Don't make it heavy. Make it light. Don't say naran, ran, say randa, randa. Okay? Right. That lahab. Don't say that lahab. There's no alif here. Okay? Don't say that lahab. Say that lahab. Lahab. Okay? One haraka for each of them. Just that is prolonged. That lahab. That lahab. Okay? And bounce back. All right, this is Hamzatul Wasl. You should not pronounce it when it comes between 2 letters. It's silent. Wamra'atuhu, not wa'amra'a, not wa'imra'a. Okay? Do not pronounce Hamza. Ignore it. It's not there. It's like it's not there. Connect wow with meme. Ra heavy. Wamra'atuhu. Don't say ra. This is heavy. Ah. Hamza should be light. Ah, not all. Wamra'atuhu. Okay? And also don't say wamra'atahu. Ta is also lahanjali. Some people do that. They change the dhamma to fatha. Hammalata, 2 counts. And don't prolong this here too. Don't say hammalata al-hatab. Some people do that weird thing. So hammalata al-hatab. حمالة الحطب. حط. Don't say hatab. Don't say this ha. This is not ha. This is ha. And this is not ta. This is ta. Don't say hatab. Tab. Say tab. Ta. Tab. Okay. Okay. Fi prolonged. G prolonged. Ha prolonged. D is not prolonged. Don't say fi, G, D, ha, D. D is not long. Diha. Diha. في جيدها. Okay, في جيدها. All right. حبل, bounce back. Don't say حبل حبل. حبل من مسد. Okay, count them properly. All right, these are the possible mistakes. Try to stay away from them. All right, I'm going to recite this entire surah so you can practice with me or listen to this recitation 4 or 5 times before actually trying to repeat with me. Okay? First listen and understand, and then when you properly understand every rule and you're sure that you're not missing anything, you can start reading with the recitation, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد.
I hope this video was clear. If you have any questions, inshallah, you can leave a comment here, bi'idhnillah, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Or if there is any suggestion too, we'll really welcome the suggestion from you guys, bi'idhnillah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته